Hey Lamomet friends, Anding here for a class overview now that I've reached level cap. A few people asked actually during my leveling stream to see my current build, and I forgot before ending the stream and was also tired because I just streamed for 4 hours, and so now I'm going to be showing my build. So let's go ahead and go on into things. I do still have 2 more points to spend. And I think I'm just going to go straight for finesse, which is this one. And so now I am on to the 4th tier of yellow line out of 7 tiers, of course. And so that's kind of exciting. I'm glad to have, basically half yellow line and mostly red line. And that's basically my build. I did not go for Ebbing Ire, which generates more threat, essentially, or reduces the threat. Don't need that. And also did not go for the hamstring duration because I don't use that skill very often. And also did not go for athletic because while you can run away faster, I feel like as a champion I shouldn't be putting 3 points into an athletic skill, and so I'm saving those points and using them in yellow line instead because I think it's a much better trade-off where you're able to do more damage and things like that from yellow line. So I have 76 points, which I know is not the highest amount you can get. I still have some epic battle stuff that could get me more points if I wanted to, but not really wanting to right now. If we go into racial stuff, I have Duty Bound, which gives me plus 5% max morale, which is great, especially if you're in groups because it does it for the whole fellowship, which is fantastic, or if you're just in a hard area. Man of the Fourth Age is just a filler one that's better than anything else. Strength and Morale is great. It's a nice extra heal. Evade, Parry, and Block rating is just nice to have a little bit more of. And then extra damage for one-handed and two-handed weapons. And then over in Virtues, I have rank 17 and 18 and 19 of everything. I'm currently basically trying to go against what my class normally is, so I'm actually going for anything that's morale related, so I have more survivability on my champion. And so we can see here that Determination gives in combat morale regen and max morale increase. We also have Justice, which gives in combat morale regen and morale increase, and even non-combat morale regen extra, which is just icing on the cake, I suppose. And then we have Loyalty, which increases vitality, max power, which I actually have been having power issues recently, so I'm definitely glad to have that power from there because I'd be having even worse power issues otherwise. And then also increased armor value, which helps with defense as well. And then we go over to Valor, which actually increases max morale, increases non-combat morale regen, which is alright. It also increases might, which it's not the best might one, but it does actually do something that our class needs, so that's great. And then I also have Zeal, which increases max morale, physical mitigation, and armor value. So lots of defensive type skills just to make my champion be a little bit meatier. Basically, I typically go in the opposite direction with Virtues from what my class normally would be like. So if it's a high damage class, I'll usually go for a bit more morale to balance things out a bit so that it's not so one-sided. And if it's a tank, I'll go for damage type stuff. So that's basically my build. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comments below. I do have these 4 fervor skills that I just spam like crazy and just keep pressing again and again and again. Every now and then I'll use Champion's Duel. I really need to use that a bit more often. It basically reduces their damage that they're doing to me and also increases the amount of damage that I'm doing to them. And then of course we have our fervor building skills, and this helps you if you lose your weapons. And then we have our high DPS skills right here, and then this is nice just if it's up to do a nice extra amount of damage, and it's always up. I didn't mean it that way. And then we have brutal strikes, which you can hit when the target's morale is down to I think 50% because I have some ally stuff that's increased that. And then I of course have raging blades and things like that. Horn of Gondor is nice for stunning people, obviously. Feral Strikes is a thing that can actually do quite a lot of good to basically stop an attack. At least it used to be able to. I don't remember if it still does. I know they changed this skill quite a bit during the revamp. Clobber is the thing that actually breaks stance. That wasn't Furl Strikes. Furl Strikes used to do a similar thing, but I don't think it does anymore. But Clobber will actually break an attack, and so that can be very helpful. And then this is just a thing that snares your opponent. Used to, you could use Hamstring, I believe, to get out of combat if I'm remembering right. And then I have my heal skill, which is fantastic. I use it fairly often. Also from Redline, I get heals every so often from just killing people. I think it's like a 2,000 to 3,000 morale heal, somewhere in there, which is really nice. It adds in a lot. And then I have my overtime heal, which restores 3% of max morale for 30 seconds every 2 or for 20 seconds every 2 seconds. They changed it. And so that is great. It helps out a ton. And then we also have Strength and Morale, which we already talked about earlier, just increases your morale. And then the 5% morale thing that boosts it up. Controlled Burn helps you get extra fervor and also helps you get power regen, which is fantastic. It also increases melee damage and increases attack speed. So I really should be using Controlled Burn more than I do, and I'm starting to get back into the swing of using it. I used to use it a lot all the time, not so much anymore. I need to get back into using it. Of course, by the time I play my class again, because now that I'm at level cap and I've gone through the area, I probably won't play until the next area comes out. I might forget some of this stuff, but that's okay. And then I have just all my mounted stuff over there. And then somebody before was asking how you can move UI. You can just hit Control and then backslash, and then you can move around all your different bars. You also need to go into the options under, I think it's UI, to allow them to be moved around. But once you do that, you can move them around all day long. And yeah, that's pretty much my champion build. It seems to be working fairly well. I have been doing quite a bit of damage. I guess I could also show legendary item stuff, because that's all kinds of exciting. And so we can see here I've actually, even though this is a 3rd age weapon, I've actually maxed out the total amount of DPS I can do at 26. I know that you can buy more tiers. I don't really want to do that because I don't feel like it can really be justified. I'm almost to the top on all of the other stuff as well. Battle Frenzy cooldown is great. Horn damage is almost to 10%. That would be fantastic if it can get there. And it looks like the final tier will actually be almost 20%, which would be just amazing. Extra damage to Wild Attack, Furl Strikes, Savage Strikes. Extra damage is always great, and this will continue to up the damage there. And then this reduces the cooldown of Ferocious Strikes and also increases the damage of Ferocious Strikes, so it's actually a really good one. Rend armor reduction, I don't think I actually have Rend because I don't think I've gone far enough down Yellow Line, so that's kind of just a wasted one. And then I have critical stuff as well, and I don't remember how you replace legacies. You have to have 50 mithril coins, so I'm not going to be doing that anytime soon. And then also critical damage multiplier is obviously really important, and currently I have it at 42%. It can go all the way up to 96%. I really hope that that'll happen because that is a huge help, but you can see it still has a long way to go. But yeah, that's pretty much my sword. Let's go over to my other weapon. I don't remember which one. I guess it wouldn't be that one because it doesn't have the right stuff. Here we go. Extra incoming healing rating is great for healing, obviously. Also have Ebbing Ire, which really doesn't do anything for me, but I'm less focused on this weapon just because I don't see a need for it as much because it typically has less interesting relics and things like that, legacies. And so also have extra damage for Blade Wall. Dire Need cooldown is really important, and I believe, let's see here, it's one of these. Maybe I don't have Dire Need anymore, which would be even worse. So anyway, that's a great thing. Use 2 anyway. I don't think that they've actually updated that, but it is still there. Raging Blade damage is great. Strike skill. Power cost reduction is very important because, as I said earlier, I have issues with power on this character because I need to be getting a little bit more power somehow. And also adamant invincible duration taken down there. On my actual settings and all the different types of relics, I have morale increase for this one. I think that's very important as a champion to be having morale increase, and so I've done that to counteract again all the damage that am doing. I also have vitality and crit rating. This is a great skill. It increases your crit, which is always something you want, and which is the endurance one, and it also gets extra vitality. And I forgot to mention that this one is the setting of morale, which is important to know. And then the rune of defense I have as well. It increases incoming healing, which is the main reason I use it, and then it also gives block extra. Incoming healing is great when you're in a group because the healer won't have to heal you as much, so that's why I focus on that. If we go back to my other weapon here, we can see that I have the exact same ones again, so I've doubled up on those, and I think that they're actually really helpful. If you have any tips for champions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions about the class or anything like that, feel free to leave those in the comments below as well. And hopefully I or somebody else will be able to answer your questions about the champion. There's also guides on the forums about champion builds and things like that, so feel free to look at those. But that's a basic overview of my champion. And if you would like to see my rotation in action, feel free to watch the leveling stream I did yesterday, or any other videos that feature my champion, and you can see the rotation that I do there and kind of get a sense of how things go. Basically, I just spam 1 through 4 here to generate fervor, and then I use the other skills to spend the fervor, and then I'll also, after about a round or two of those, and I spend the fervor, I'll then go for one of these two skills to get more fervor, so I can spend a skill quickly, and then I'll immediately hit the other one, spend a skill quickly. And these two can actually take up quite a bit of power, which is part of the reason why I have power issues, is because I use those pretty frequently, and honestly probably don't need to as much. It's just really when you get into those extended fights when that becomes a major issue. Raging Blade is a great AoE attack from Yellow Line that I have used, and I highly recommend that as well. So, like I said earlier, that's a basic overview of the champion. Once again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them below, or if you have any tips on how to either improve my build or just general guidelines for champions in general, feel free to put those as well. So anyway, thank you everyone for watching. Real quick, I do want to say, I guess, before I completely end out the video, I know I've almost ended it twice now, I do want to say that I think that the champion is in a pretty good spot. It doesn't seem too powerful, and it also doesn't seem underpowered. It's kind of in that nice little sweet spot. I know that certain builds can be too powerful, and I know some people have gotten to a too powerful champion, but I think it's actually at a pretty good balance, especially when you compare it to other classes, and so I think it actually does a pretty good job. So if you're interested in trying out a champion, I would actually recommend it. It's kind of a button mashy class, so I think pretty much anyone can play a champion. You just have to spend a little bit of time to learn how to play it. And it's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it. I don't know if it was actually better before Helm's Deep or not. I still have not been able to decide that. It's different, and that's part of the reason why I'm not so sure, is because this champion is very different from the previous one. I feel like that there is less customizability from before, but I feel like it's also been more streamlined, and the gameplay just seems to go faster than it did before, especially with some of the LI things I have to increase animation speed and do things like that. Really helps to speed up combat quite a bit, and I really enjoy my champion, and let me know in the comments what you think of the champion as well. So anyway, thank you everyone so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again real soon for more content.